Today's video is a little different. No book review, no big theory breakdown. I just want to hand you 5 essays. All of them are on Substack, all of them are written by women, all of them are doing something with feminism that I think deserves more eyes than they are currently getting. So grab a tea, settle in, and let's get into it. First up is essay called Why Close Reading is Feminist. The argument here is simple, but it stuck with me. Close reading, that slow, careful attention to word choice, tone, silences, what is said, what is left out, isn't just an English class skill, it's a survival skill that women already practices every day. Reading a room, reading a man's tone, clocking off what's off in a situation before you can even name why, that's a pattern recognition, and it is the same muscle a close reader uses on a page. The essay also points out that this kind of patient, detailed attention has historically been dismissed by traditional criticism as too small, too soft, too feminine to matter. So reclaiming it as a serious critical practice becomes its own act of resistance. So it's a great essay you should definitely read. Next is Negative Feminism, which looks at the writer Jen Rhys and specifically her novel Voyage in the Dark. Jen has been criticized for decades for writing female characters who are passive, defeated, stuck rely on men who treat them badly. Critics called it anti-feminist, but this essay pushes back on that, dawning on the scholar Annie Cunningham's idea that failure itself is a form of resistance, that a woman refusing, even unconsciously, to perform respectability is still rejection of what is expected of her. It's a sharp reminder that feminist storytelling doesn't have to look triumphant to be doing the real work. Sometimes refusal to bounce back is the point. Third essay is In and Against Personal Essay. Kat Bugos writes about being young feminist academic who is constantly aware that women's are rarely allowed to be expert on anything except their own pain. She traces how publishing world keeps steering women toward personal essay, toward trauma, toward vulnerability as currency. Think of Sylvia Plath get flattened into tragic girl aesthetic instead of taken seriously as a writer. But she doesn't just criticize the form, she wrestles with it. Admits she loves personal essays when they are done well, and ended up asking a harder question. Is the exploitation in writing itself or in the economy that rewards women for bleeding on the page? No easy answer, and that's why this essay is worth reading. The fourth essay is Goddesses Caged by Myth and Misogyny, written by Swarnali Mukherjee, takes on Hindu mythology, specifically Sita from the Ramayana and Draupadi from the Mahabharata. Both are usually thought as symbols of purity and devotion, but this essay looks at what actually happens to them. Public humiliation, exile, disrobing in front of the silent court, and centuries of being remembered as virtuous rather than as a survivors. The essay argues that myth functions the same way history does. It decides whose suffering gets sanctified and whose gets erased. The last essay is not another Sylvia Plath. This essay by Abhijeet Singh introduces you to Sara Shagufta, a Pakistani poet from 1970s. Married at 14, she went into writing furious, unfiltered poetry about body, her grief, her rage, at a literary world that cares more about her controversies than her work. The essay's whole argument is right there in the title. She shouldn't become another Sylvia Plath. Not because the comparison is base-led, but because reducing her to a tragic woman who died by suicide erases a poet who spent years writing some of the boldest Urdu feminist poetry of her generation. If you have never heard of her before this, you are not alone. And that's the kind of a point. So that's the list, 5 essays, 5 very different angles of what feminist writing can actually look like. Literary theory, autofiction, mythology, biography, personal essay. I will drop all 5 links down in the description so you can go and read them. Let me know in the comments which one you like the most, and if you got Substack essays that you think deserve more attention, send them my way. I'm always looking for the next read. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.